Welcome on in, race fans, to tonight's event here in Atlanta, Georgia for the biggest race of the season thus far. It is the beginning of the playoffs for 12 of our drivers who have made it this far into the season. The Scrambler Series, which will present a brand new challenge unlike anything we have ever seen here in the Cyber Thunder Racing League. Starting tonight, 12 drivers will be looking to chase down their first championship for what would be, I think most of these drivers, about 10 of them, looking for their very first, and a couple others looking to add one to their tally. But let's set the stage for everyone out there. First and foremost, of course, here at Atlanta, we are here for a grueling race tonight, round 17 of the season, on a track that many consider to be the trickiest oval that we go to, managing those tires on this old worn out surface. From this point throughout the remainder of the season, we will be here week after week, every Tuesday evening, to determine our champion. The Scrambler Series is as follows. We start tonight at Atlanta, followed by Kentucky, Richmond, Pocono, Texas, Michigan, and rounding out at the Charlotte Oval. It should be a great time, and joining me alongside for each and every one of these events, as always, is my co-host, Tom Richter. How's it going tonight, Tom?
Good evening, Arie. I am so ready to get the Scrambler Series, kind of a Cyber Thunder Racing League tradition and staple, underway out here this season, and we've been talking about it all season long, and the Scrambler Series is so unforgiving. I know that these drivers are ready to take part in the playoffs and begin their championship hunt.
Well, I tell you what, speaking of the Scrambler Series, if we have the timing tower up as we watch from the starter stand right here, we have actually got a nice fancy little graphic for everyone out there. The green rectangles next to the drivers, Semple, Gibson, Ping, Jurgen, and so on, that represents the drivers who are in championship contention, the drivers to keep an eye on. But not only that, Tom, do you want to show us what else we've got?
We also have, very easily at a glance, we've got the playoff running order live as they run right now, and you have 6 of the 12 championship eligible drivers inside the top 10. That is their position in the opening practice. Matt Semple currently first, Cody Gibson in second, Dustin Ping, with the slowest of the championship eligible drivers being Lee Campbell back in 19th, Brad Holmes in 20th, and Tanner Marr in 24th.
We'll be excited to use that new graphic as we go throughout this race and throughout the rest of the races here in the Scrambler Series. Lots of fun, lots of storylines to keep on top of, and maybe the biggest storyline of all as of late, this driver right here, driver 16, Matt Semple, has won 2 out of the last 3 races and enters the Scrambler Series playoffs at a track in which he's got unfinished business. This is, of course, where the championship was decided last season, and he was real happy when he qualified on pole for that race. Looked to be a real serious threat, and everything went wrong into the first corner with missing a shift, and it was all down from there. So Matt Semple's come out here. He's topped the board in practice. He's topped the power rankings as of his run as of late. And that 16, that Maple Missile, I think he's going to be a serious threat for the championship.
He certainly is, Arie. You know, and Matt kind of came away from Atlanta Motor Speedway last season, and he kind of hung his head down, and he was like, I know I can do so much more than what I did out there. But one driver who lit his flame at Atlanta Motor Speedway last season is Cody Gibson, the driver of the number 1 machine, and Cody looks to pick up another win out here at Atlanta. This was the site of his first career win in the Cyber Thunder Racing League.
It was his first career win, and I think it was a lot more than that as well. That was really a breakout race for Cody Gibson, because he had the entire field covered by multiple seconds. I would know, finishing runner-up to him in that race, I had nothing. And ever since that win of his in the season finale last go of it, he has been nearly unstoppable. He found something going into that race that he has not lost since, and I would be amazed if the driver that we're not talking to at the end of the day is Cody Gibson. I feel like he's got to be the favorite.
Certainly is, and we will see, as he has multiple wins over the season. But Arie, the Scrambler Series, it doesn't care about what you did in the season. It cares about what you do tonight, and the way that you move on is just simply by not being the lowest finishing playoff driver as the lowest finishing driver will be eliminated from championship contention out here this evening.
That's absolutely right. The Scrambler Series is something new, and there will be a little bit of confusion, as there has been with the drivers as well. But in essence, from week to week, all you've got to worry about is the driver who's finishing the worst out of those still remaining. So right now, for example, using our practice results, our practice board right here, if the race were to end, the driver being eliminated this week would be Tanner Marr, and it is as simple as that. We'll be keeping this graphic, we'll be checking in with it as we go throughout the race and keeping an eye on who's in the danger zone. You don't want to be towards the bottom of that board. As long as you can beat one of the other 11 competitors you have, you'll be doing okay. There are some, there's one special stipulation that might come into play, but for the sake of simplicity, we'll only get to that if we need to.
The field of 29 gets ready to qualify as they have about 10 seconds remaining out in practice, and the top 3, all championship eligible drivers, Matt Semple, Cody Gibson, Dustin Ping, going to lead the way in opening practice.
Well, I tell you what, Tom, with practice coming to a close, qualifying getting ready to start, I'm really liking what I'm seeing out of the names up at the top of the board. I think we get a race where you've got Matt Semple, Cody Gibson, Dustin Ping, top of the board in practice. I think that's going to shake out to be a really entertaining battle with those 3 names specifically. And on the flip side, I think I've seen a couple shocks, like Greg Mitchell down in 13th, for example, in practice. Gary Bowman a little further than I would expect. Let's see how it turns in qualifying.
One of the first drivers to light up on pit road is actually going to be we got a couple of cars getting ready to roll. Let's see who puts the truck in gear first, and it is going to be Matt Semple in that number 16, fastest in opening practice. How does he back it up here in his qualifying effort?
We're going to find out as he gets up to speed. That Alto Construction Chevy Silverado, first season running with an official sponsor, and he's been making the most of it. This is also his first season in the Cyber Thunder Racing League with multiple wins on the season, having done so at Rockingham and Talladega. Top of the board in practice, should be the favorite for pole if you take that into account. Let's see what driver 16 can do.
Across the line for the first time, Matt Semple's going to send that 16 down into turn number 1, arc it way down onto the white line, and we're going to see a lot of talk about tires out here tonight, Arie. Drivers have 5 sets of tires to use. Atlanta, Darlington, Rockingham, those are probably the 3 worst tracks for tire degradation. And tonight it starts the playoffs, and we'll see which driver is able to manage it the best as they come along here for 134 laps out tonight. And Matt's going to come across the line, see where he comes across.
Across the line for driver 16, first time on the board, a 31.208. We'll keep him at the top for now. And back to your point, Rockingham, that's one that sticks out for me. That's a track that's really hard on the tires. It really puts it into the driver's hands. And guess who won that race? And pretty convincingly at that. It was the 16. So keeping an eye on Semple all night tonight as we jump over to Nathan Dufton, driver of the 47 in that Toyota Tundra, looking to lay down a hot lap.
Nathan Dufton, first time by, was good enough for 8th on the board as more times come across the start-finish line. Nathan's been kind of picking it up here over the past couple of weeks, Arie. The past couple of weeks, we've been saying his name more and more in the race, and we'll see what he's able to do. Picks up to 4th on his second lap.
That he does. Cody Gibson jumps to the top of the board in the 1 truck with a time of 31.179. Bumps Matt Semple to P2. We're watching the 33 across the line. Jared Camilli looking for a good time. That's up to P8 for the 33 as Greg Mitchell jumps up onto the front row, bumping Semple off of second place.
That's a big pickup from his qualifying effort, or excuse me, from his practice effort. Was about mid-pack in practice. So looks to set himself up for a good starting position. But another driver who doesn't always need a good starting position, if the race goes his way, is Andrew Caldwell, one of our championship drivers, highlighted in green next to his name in that 46. Good enough for 9th on the board.
It certainly is. Andrew Caldwell, a driver known for making late runs up through the field, collecting positions. We're going to see Steven Music finish that second lap. That's going to be P17 for that 09, that Greg Biffle tribute truck.
Great looking truck out there for Steven Music, as it looks like he's going to money shift it and send it for a ride. But Lee Campbell's going to begin his first time lap And Lee's another one of those drivers, made it in on points, but had a very stressful week at Talladega 2 weeks ago.
He did have a stressful week. You know who else did? Mike Stiverson, who just jumped up to P5 on the board. We'll see what these guys can do as they get their final hot laps in. But that 60 truck coming out here with a newer paint scheme, looking to silence some doubters out there. Lee was one of the drivers who just made it in, but I think we both agree that talent-wise, Lee can go pretty far in this series.
He absolutely can, and we will see how far he goes, or if he potentially gets his first career win at Cyber. Remember, Lee almost won at, I want to say it was Nashville earlier this season, came up just 50 feet short of the start-finish line before he ran out of gas. So that 60 has been fast throughout the season.
Certainly has been. He's been close on numerous occasions, and through 3 and 4 for the final time on the hot lap. Going to bring that Ford F-150 to the start finish line. Driver 60 with that time. It's going to jump up to P15 as it cuts off that engine, and that is all of the drivers on track electing to take a time. 3 drivers without a time on the board: Casey Tomlinson, Eric Anderson, James Kinder, as qualifying looks to wrap up in about 25 seconds.
All right, well, Arie, as we go into tonight's race, 134 laps are stages out here this evening. A little bit shorter than what drivers are maybe used to in terms of stages. Stage 1 going to end at the conclusion of lap number 30, and then stage 2, lap number 58. And that is what drivers are looking for, where the 2 batches of stage points will be handed out tonight.
And those stage points, they're going to be... It's going to be an interesting situation with you, and whether you look at it the same as you did in the regular season, given if you're one of the drivers in the Scrambler Series. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about that finishing position at the end. Just don't be the last one on track. So, do we see these drivers elect to do something crazy with the stages, flip the stages, do something that really benefits the final run of the race? I'm excited to find out.
All right, Arie, well, I'm excited to go racing out here on a Tuesday night. Let's pull up your starting order from tonight's event. Cody Gibson going to be rolling off with the pole position out here this evening with a 31.179 to his outside. He's got the regular season champion, Greg Mitchell. Matthew Semple has been on fire the last couple of weeks, rolls off third with Ed Jurgen, the 2-time Cyber 500 winner. Mike Stiverson rounds out the top 5. Dustin Ping, Nathan Dufton, Brad Holmes, Andy Cork, and Chris Rose, the top 10.
Andrew Caldwell is going to start us off in P11 alongside Jarrett Camilli in the 33. Corey Sherman's going to start off in 13th with Jason Raymond alongside. Starting in 15th, it's Lee Campbell, driver of the 60, alongside the War Wagon, driven by Amanda Sherman. We got Gary Bowman in 17th alongside Tanner Marr, a row of Scrambler Series contenders, followed by Chris Letts and Larry Bell rounding out the top 20.
And rounding our field of 29 drivers out here tonight, Stephen Music rolls off 21st with Brad Collins, the 67, says outside. Paxton Frith in that number 7 had a strong showing at Talladega 2 weeks ago. Starts 23rd with David Gainforth in the top 24. Logan Spencer comes home in qualifying 25th, followed by Theodore Todorov, Eric Anderson, James Kinder, and Casey Tomlinson, the field of 29 drivers out here this evening.
We got a stacked field. We got a lot of drivers here for the first race of the Scrambler Series, and at a track as difficult as the original Atlanta. Well, I guess not the original, but the old Atlanta. It is sure to be a good time, sure to be a fun time. I love these races for maybe no bigger reason than the fact that we get so many comers and goers, drivers who push early on and pay the price, drivers who save early on and come swinging through the field a little bit later, so we should have a good one.
As the field gets ready to roll underneath Barney the Flagman, we get set to go playoff racing out here for the first time in the season. A single elimination race for these drivers, and we get set to go racing behind the guidance of the iRacing.com pace car. And what a better way to kick off the Scrambler Series than seeing these two on the front row, Greg Mitchell, Cody Gibson. They have been the dominant drivers all season, but the playoff Scrambler Series, again, Arie, does not care about that.
It does not care about that, and I tell you what, the top 3 are our top 3 in the power rankings, and the top 3 that have been for quite some time at this point. Those top 2 on the front row have got to be the odds-on favorites. They've been going blow for blow all season, and I think if the opportunity lines itself up, Matt Semple in third, he's probably the driver most equipped to slide in there and steal the show before it's all over. So it's a perfect little bit of foreshadowing, if you ask me.
All right, well, the pace car is about to get down and out of the way for the first time out here this evening, and it's time for us to go racing at Atlanta. Again, the drivers with the green accent next to their name, the championship-eligible drivers, we're going to be keeping a very close eye on them all night, but the entire top 6 in the Scrambler Series, and we are green flag racing at Atlanta. Let's go racing on the Tuesday.
Great start from the outside lane. Greg Mitchell going to try and hold toe into turn 1, but Matt Semple is pushing Cody Gibson for all he's worth, trying to get that 16 truck clear into second place. If he can do so, that would be huge. Coming onto the back straightaway, Greg Mitchell's going to have the run, however, going to have a chance. Andy Cork with issues further back, but he gets it saved into turn 3.
Couple of cars dancing on the exit of turn number 2, but up front, they are side by side for the race lead. Cody Gibson had the advantage down the backstretch. Cody Gibson was able to protect the race lead and lead lap number 1 for a bonus.
Cody Gibson in control. Greg Mitchell looking to hound that rear bumper nice and early. Further back, Matt Semple. He's got his hands full of Dustin Ping in the 81 truck. Dustin, a driver we know, not afraid to get aggressive. Got in on those stage points, knows how to go up there and contend early on, does that 81. He's going to take over P3.
Simple working on the outside of Dustin Ping. Now they're going to flip positions down here on the entry into turn number 3. The top 4 have separated themselves from the remainder of the field. Brad Holmes rounds out the top 5 as they run right now. Cody Gibson leads the race.
Gibson in control down into turns 1 and 2. The battle further back, it's Nathan Dufton and Ed Jurgen. Ed Jurgen has dropped down a handful of spots, as has Mike Stiverson, just further behind. A couple of drivers who are in the Scrambler Series, maybe just looking to find a spot to settle early on.
On board with Mike Stiverson, as we saw a little bit of a bobble from the 92 on the backstretch. Almost contact with the 47 of Nathan Dufton, but able to keep that 92 going in the right direction. Mike Stiverson's going to take a look for the 7th position underneath the 92 down into turn number 1. Cody Gibson has opened up about a 2-truck length lead.
That he has. You can see him playing the air games up ahead, cutting the nose off of the 55 of Greg Mitchell, causing him to get a little bit worse on the handling side, and that's something that we're going to see all night tonight is the aero games at a track with as little grip is what we're working with here in Atlanta, with as hard as it is on the tires. Playing those air games are going to be a huge deal if you're trying to take a position or if you're trying to defend for that matter.
Well, we're going to see who's able to protect it the best or use it to their advantage the best, as Jason Raymond on the inside of Jared Keemley on the inside of turns 1 and 2, able to make that pass successfully. Now Dustin Ping looks like he's going to be putting the heat on Matt Semple here. Once again, these two drivers have found themselves together once more.
That they have. The entire field is bunched up, even still at the front of the field. We haven't hit the tire fall-off cliff just yet, and drivers are trying to take advantage of it as well as they can. Brad Holmes in the 00 is going to look for an opportunity to try and work Dustin Ping around the high side. Greg Mitchell trying to defend from Matt Semple. We might fancy a 3-wide shot right here. It's all going to work itself out, but Dustin Ping, wonder if he's trying to get up to the high line.
Dustin Ping was so close to being clear of Matt Semple there on the exit of turn number 2, was not able to make it happen on the exit of 2, and looks like Brad Holmes is going to fill that spot here on the exit of 4 as he's going to pull the draft from teammate Matt Semple directly in front of him, and that gap behind him is closing because now Nathan Dufton joins the picture.
That he does indeed. That 47 who's been on a tear as of late, starting to make a real name for himself up in the conversation. Brad Holmes with a great run, though, to the outside of teammate Matt Semple. He gets a little loose, causes a little bit of a checkup. That allows Greg Mitchell in second place to pull a bit of an advantage, give him some breathing room.
The first 2 drivers have pulled up away from each other a little bit, but this battle for 3rd place, 4 cars strong, possibly 5 if you count Ed Jurgen in this mix as well. Matt Semple barely edges Brad Holmes at the start-finish line, and they're going to be dead even down here into turn number 1. I like being on the outside lane here, Arie, especially as the tires start to wear. It allows you to control what the car on the inside does a little bit more, but you need to trust that car on the inside.
Certainly the case. I feel like you've got more freedom if you're the driver on the outside. It just feels like it's usually better for attacking and defending, especially at these cookie-cutter style tracks. And not to mention, you know, the load on the tires, as long as you're smart about it, is going to be less significant than what you're forcing out of the driver to your inside. And so Brad Holmes, Nathan Dufton cruising around the outside up there, I feel like it's a good spot to be in. And, you know, if you're Ed Jurgen right here, you're getting stuck on the bottom lane. I don't love that for you, and I would try to get up as soon as you can.
We're going to see who's able to make their way up, but taking a look from the deck lid of Dustin Ping right now. You can just see these cars trying to make any lane work. See Jason Raymond down on the inside lane there. Almost a 3-wide situation as they come off of turn number 4. Ed Jurgen, Andrew Caldwell, Mike Stuyvesant, and more in this camera frame as they race down here into turn number 1.
Great onboard shot. Looking behind the 81 of Dustin Ping, who's going to get a spot from Matt Semple right there. Looked like he struggled out of turn 2. All the while, Nathan Dufton is moved up to P4. Not something we would have expected. The best running driver of those not in contention for the championship. And by a margin at that, up here spoiling the party.
Take a quick look. We are going to do a quick little check-in of our Scramble Series as they run right now. The bottom 3 running championship-eligible drivers, Gary Bowman back in 14th, Tanner Martin 18th, and the driver slated for elimination if we ended the race right now, Eric Anderson in the 43.
Eric Anderson, of course, not getting a qualifying time, if I'm not mistaken. Not starting out tonight's race how he would have hoped, but maybe it's a play for survival here in the early stages. Definitely a valid strategy as we see Dustin Ping work over a disappearing Nathan Dufton. Maybe gets clear, yes, just at the line. Move the 81 back up into P4. Now trying to chase down double ahead of him. Brad Holmes running at P3, one of our biggest movers on the night.
Brad Holmes up 5 positions from his qualifying effort, started 8th out here, currently runs in 3rd place, being chased down, just was able to make a pass on Dustin Ping. Nathan Dufton rounds out the top 5 as they run right now. Ed Jurgen seems to be the one driver that is committed to making any line he possibly can work here, Arie. And as we approach the tire fall off the cliff that these drivers will see, it's right around here, right around the lap number 15 mark. We'll see how that plays out for the night.
That we will, and if one thing is for certain, it's that Ed Jurgen has been learning how to take better care of his tires in recent times. He's been taking a page out of Gary Bowman's book, and he's been getting a little better at it. So I wouldn't be surprised if Ed can hold on to his tires maybe a little better than some of the drivers around him.
Almost a 3-wide situation on the exit of turn number 4. But yeah, I'd say there's probably not a better driver in the field to learn tire conservation from than Gary Bowman. Gary, one of the best drivers at it that I have ever seen in terms of saving his tires, but we're going to have to see how that works out for Ed Jurgen. My concern for the 92 is that he seems to be maybe pushing a little bit more to keep the track position on the inside here than the cars up on the outside.
Yeah, you've got to be really careful how much you're pushing. If you were one of the drivers stuck on the bottom, you can make it work if you really need the position, but you've definitely got to pick and choose your battles as they come off of the corner 3 wide. You certainly don't want to come off of the corner 3 wide on the bottom because that's putting the most strain on the right front tire and something that you're going to need to avoid doing as much as you can help it. Ed looks like he might be going to steal the middle lane right here. It's not going to work out because Matt Semple is on a roll looking to get back up towards the front.
Another driver on the move out here this evening. You can see Jason Raymond in this camera shot as well on the inside in that black and purple number 49. Jason Raymond tries to push that 49 forward. Did not make the playoffs, but still looking for his first win. Thought maybe he had an opportunity at North Wilkesboro. Things kind of fell apart for the 49. And, you know, I was talking with him before the race, and he said, you know, I don't really feel good about Atlanta, but he's looking good here in the laps.
Sometimes you just have good races at tracks you didn't expect, and you definitely take those as a big confidence boost, as Dustin Ping is going to lose a lot of track position right here. We kind of caught it just out of the edge of camera frame. He got those left side wheels down on the apron, got that car all sorts of squirrely and unhappy, but we see him get passed up by Matt Semple here. He's going to hold on ahead of Nathan Dufton, who seems to be falling back. He's now got teammate Andrew Caldwell in his rearview mirror, and Andrew Caldwell is in contention, so how hard does Nathan Dufton fight him?
9 of the top 10 drivers as they run right now are playoff eligible drivers, and I mean, it kind of just shows here, Arie, when the time gets to going, you know, these drivers rise to the top, as you've seen Cody Gibson drive away from Greg Mitchell and the rest of the field throughout the opening 17 laps of tonight's race. We've opened up about a 3/4 of a second gap to second place, and then about 2 seconds back to the battle we're looking at here, led by Brad Williams.
Battle a little further up, some more teammates going at it. Matt Semple now on the charge, having given up positions early on. It looks like maybe a bit of a tire strategy call from Mr. Semple to hold on and have the run later on in stage 1 right here. The top 2 are gone, but he is going to take over P3 from teammate Brad Holmes. And something that I was going to bring up just a minute ago, driver who we were talking about not that long ago, Gary Bowman, starting to make his way up the field. He's up 6 positions from where he started, one of our contenders for the championship. And we were talking about it in practice, Tom. He's made a whole brand new paint scheme for the Scrambler Series here, and I gotta say, it's one of the best looking paint schemes out there.
I got to agree. It's kind of an ode to his paint scheme from last season when he ran the Game Genie number 8, and kind of brings that back throughout the season. We've seen him in the white and teal number 8, and a little bit of a switch up here for the first race of the Scrambler Series.
Gotta love some special paint schemes whenever drivers elect to throw those on, and these battles are just going on and on and on. Back up towards the front, it's Dustin Ping now trying to work over Brad Holmes. This would be for position 4 on track, and yes, indeed, driver 92, Ed Jurgen, still in the picture, and looks like he's ready to move forward, so he's figured those tires out just a little bit. Caldwell is moving up in the field. He's up 4 positions just behind this.
Big bobble from Brad Holmes on the exit of turn number 2. He's able to hang on to that 0-0 without any damage, but now going to be in position to lose an additional spot. Lost the spot there to Ed Jurgen on the backstretch.
Lots of action, including 3 wide for just a moment. That's Chris Rose in the 07, another spoiler driver, not contending for the championship, but very much contending for the race win by the time it is all said and done. Following Jason Raymond, trying to spoil the party as well up here in that 49. Driver wasn't too confident, but he's having a pretty good race so far.
I tell you what, going back to drivers that have the potential to spoil things, right? Chris ran an incredible race at Talladega 2 weeks ago, almost won the race. I think he came home 2nd or 3rd, and that was his first podium finish in the Cyber Thunder Racing League, and looks like he's on track to have another good run out here tonight as he runs 9th, but a little bit behind Chris Rose in that 07. Got Gary Bowman, Nathan Duff, and Mike Stuyvesant in this pack of about 5 or 6 cars for about the 10th place running order.
That's right, and if there was ever a time to build some momentum, it's coming towards the end of a season. Put yourself on the right foot heading into a fresh start come next year, so we'll keep an eye out in Chris Rose's case. We know he can be fast. That much is for certain. A little bit of a blink out right there as these drivers continue to battle it out. Andrew Caldwell is now hounding the back bumper of Brad Holmes, who seems to be going backwards in a hurry.
Some drivers going backwards, some drivers going forward, and the fun part is when they meet in the middle, as you see Andrew Caldwell slide there on the exit of turn number 2 with Jason Raymond to his inside. He's got Chris Rose directly behind him, giving him a good push down the backstretch here. Got to be careful with those pushes, especially on these old tires.
You know, you absolutely do, but at least it was on the back straightaway. I think if it's through the tri-oval, it gets real sketchy in it, and it doesn't even need to be the super speedway version for that to be the case. You can see just how spread out the top 3 are from this onboard shot with Gary Bowman, driver of the 8. He's got his hands full with the battle just ahead of him. Gary currently runs in the 10th position. He's up 7 positions from where he started this race. Not quite the biggest mover, but he is putting himself in good position to not have to worry tonight.
Other drivers, as we see 5 laps to go in the stage, other drivers on the move trying to get some stage points out here tonight. We've got Gary Bowman, Mike Stuyvesant, Jared Keemley all in a pack here. You see the 33 on the inside of the number 20. And stage points still do matter for these drivers because it will ultimately determine their final finishing order in the overall standings out here for everybody else except the champion.
Certainly the case. Something that some of these drivers are going to want to keep in mind, you know, just in case you aren't the one to win the championship. Those stage points are going to go a long way in rising you up the ranks. And, hey, if you can beat your buddy or a couple other drivers, those bragging rights are worth quite a bit around here.
Absolutely. Brad Holmes now up on the top shelf of a 3-wide situation there, momentarily back to a 2-wide on the exit of turn number 2. Got Jason Raymond directly on the inside, Gary Bowman right behind him, Mike Stuyvesant on the inside, Jared Keemley trying to come through, get some stage points, and oh yeah, Nathan Duffin waiting in the wing here a little bit to see if anybody slips up and gives a spot.
Couple of close to 3-wide battles going on, but something else I want to bring our attention to as Gary Bowman looks to the inside of Mike Stuyvesant, and that is the cutoff battle at the very middle of the field. We've got 3 drivers nose to tail, starting with Lee Campbell in the 60, Tanner Marr in the 4, and just behind Tanner coming into frame, that's the 43 of Eric Anderson. Those are the bottom 3 as we run currently. If it were to finish, Eric Anderson in that 43 would be the driver to be eliminated, and this is going to be something that we keep an eye on all race. The battle could come down to the actual position, and these 3 are right on top of each other.
They certainly are. 15th, 16th, and 17th. That's how they run as it runs right now. Again, only the lowest finishing driver at the end of the race will be eliminated, but you see 3 championship eligible drivers here running nose to tail on the backstretch, and you kind of alluded to it before, Arie. Eric Anderson, one of the drivers that started in the back of the field, up 10 positions, actually the biggest mover of tonight's event.
And I tell you what, do you see how fast he's catching the 4 of Tanner Marr? Eric Anderson has taken care of the tires on this Ford F-150. He is moving forward and should be able to get by one, if not both of these guys before stage 1 is up. So it looks like he is finally in the picture.
The 43 now to the inside of the 60 for what would be the chopping block position here, if he's able to make that pass. As we see just 2 laps to go in stage number 1, driver's going to see a yellow flag at the conclusion of lap number 30, where I would imagine we're going to see everybody begging for 4 fresh tires.
Oh, I would imagine so, and the battles aren't over yet. If we jump up further in the field, Dustin Ping, Ed Jurgen. That's a close battle on track. Ed fancies jumping up to P4 before this stage is all said and done. Dustin Ping trying to hold on right there as the top 3 have now run away. At this point, Ed Jurgen going to get a good run down the back straightaway. Does he look to the inside? He does.
He's going to take a look down to the inside. Does it amount to anything on the exit of turn number 4? We're going to see if the 81 is able to hang on to that rear spoiler on the exit. Yes, he is. He's going to be able to hang on to the 4th place running order as they come across, and we see the yellow flag out for the first time this evening.
Stage 1 comes to a conclusion, and Cody Gibson gets into the wall right there, the winner in stage 1. With a little bit of a squirrely moment coming out of turn 2. Not sure what all of that was about, but that Flamin' Hot Cheetos Chevy Silverado has led every single lap, picking up where he left off last time we arrived here in the OG Atlanta Motor Speedway, scoring some stage points and looking to take control the rest of the way. Drivers are going to let the pace car get itself out on track. They're going to slow themselves down, get in line, get ready to make their first pit stops of the evening, and we can run through the field real quick in stage 1. Cody Gibson is the winner. Greg Mitchell comes home in P2 for stage number 1. Matt Semple in 3rd, Dustin Ping in 4th, Ed Jurgen in 5th, Andrew Caldwell, followed by Mike Stuyvesant. That's our top 7, all championship eligible drivers. First driver to spoil the party, that's Jason Raymond in the 49. He's in 8th. Gary Bowman in 9th, and rounding out the top 10 in stage 1, Jarek Kimmeley in the 33, making a good run out here tonight. That is our top 10 at the conclusion of stage 1. And oh, by the way, the driver currently in the cutoff position is the 60 of Lee Campbell.
Driver's going to come down here for pit road service for the first time. We're going to see it led by Cody Gibson, Greg Mitchell. Matt Semple has a moment getting on pit road there, but he's able to keep it clean and pointed in the right direction, but a scary moment for Matt Semple.
And it was indeed a couple of scary moments, like Cody Gibson. I don't know if you caught that, Tom, on the initial cooldown lap out of turn 2, kind of got into the wall a little bit, looked real squirrely. So even when under pacing conditions, these cars are a handful on these old tires. So gotta make sure your concentration doesn't lap at any moment. That much is for sure.
See the entire field coming down. Looks like possibly Steven Music may have missed his box for service, as he does not have a pit time here, but Cody Gibson going to win the race off of pit road behind the 09 of Steven Music, who did not stop. I would imagine we're going to see him come down this time by Greg Mitchell, Matt Semple, the top 4 as they come out.
That they do. As a matter of fact, the first 7 cars out of pit road are all championship eligible drivers. Notable to point out, drivers who were looking real good early on in this race. Nathan Duft and Brad Holmes, they find themselves down in 12th and 13th at the moment. And potential issues for Dustin Ping, championship contender, currently still on pit road. The pit lane, or the pit stop time is currently sitting at 58:59, 60 seconds stopped in the box. So, potential issues for the 81. Will he go a lap down as the field comes by this time? We will keep an eye on the situation. Looks like he will.
Yeah, Dustin Ping going to go a lap down early in tonight's race. That could spell trouble. We're going to keep a very close eye on it. Another driver that we want to catch up here real quick, Cody Gibson, pole sitter, ran the entire opening stage as the race leader. How you feeling about stage 2 here? A little bit shorter.
Feeling pretty good. So yeah, with a little bit shorter, I can probably push a little harder at the beginning, but tires are not looking very good, healthy.
Well, we were talking about tires, but this is the track that kind of set you on fire last season. Maybe a second win at Atlanta here in the cards.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm hoping for. I mean, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Like you said, got to finish in front. Don't be last.
All right, well, Cody Gibson, good luck. The remainder of the race going to get you back down to your team room, as it looks like Dustin Ping has been able to make it off of pit road, so unsure of what's going on with Dustin there.
I think he hopped out of the race car and ran to the nearest porta-john.
It's happened once or twice. But we'll see as the pace car gets down and out of the way to begin stage number 2 of the Knockout 134, 28 laps of racing in stage 2.
Great jump by race leader Cody Gibson. He's going to maintain control of the race down into turn number 1. All eyes on the battle for P2. Greg Mitchell in the 55 looking to close into the 1 car. He's going to bring Matt Semple along with him, and we are 2 by, starting with Andrew Caldwell and Ed Jurgen.
Gary Bowman waiting in the wings, lurking in that black number 8 Toyota Tundra. And I tell you what, you do not want to see Gary Bowman coming up in your rearview mirror, especially on a tire track. I believe that is what we will be seeing here. He put himself in good position through the first stage. Now stage 2, he's going to make himself known up front.
Well, I tell you what, one thing to note is that the last time we came to the old Atlanta configuration here, Tom, Gary Bowman was one of the Championship 4 drivers in contention, and there was a not so insignificant portion of the race through the middle to late sections where Gary Bowman looked to be the favorite to win the championship. He was running a fantastic race. Now that he's got himself track position, I wouldn't be surprised if he throws his name in the hat.
Certainly could be. I'm not sure if you caught that there on Arie on the exit of turn number 2. Almost issues for Eric Anderson as we try to get this queued up here. So something happens here in front of him. A little bit of contact between the 47 and the 3 of Corey Sherman. Looks like Eric maybe just reacts a little bit and slides that 43 down, but it certainly looked a lot worse than what it actually was.
That it did, and Eric's going to be glad that he got that thing saved, as that was a sketchy moment indeed. Back to the live action right now. Whole bunch of playoff drivers battling it out back here just on the outside reaches, just outside of the top 10, I should say. Brad Holmes, Eric Anderson, Tanner Marr, 3 drivers who are in contention for the championship, but these guys are feeling a little safer right now because, as we know, back towards the back of the field, Dustin Ping is currently running 1 lap down, and the driver who would be cut off, if Dustin Ping can get back on the lead lap, the next driver in line would be Lee Campbell, who is running towards the back of the pack at the moment.
If I'm Lee Campbell, if I'm Tanner Marr, I'm not too comfortable with that because we know we have a caution coming in just about 19 laps here. We're going to see one at the end of at the end of lap number 58, and there's really nobody in danger of going a lap down. So that kind of almost guarantees that Dustin would get his lap back, assuming that nothing dramatic changes here over the next 20 laps or so.
Very interesting, very much something we want to keep an eye on. Speaking of something that's interesting and to keep an eye on, previous second-place runner Greg Mitchell currently finds himself in P4 as Matt Semple and Ed Jurgen, of all drivers, make their way around Greg Mitchell. Now, I say that with a little bit of surprise because Ed Jurgen, he looks pretty racy, Tom. He looks like race-winning speed racy.
He absolutely does, and I mean, he's been able to work his way forward and kind of point that 92 wherever it needs to go. And right now he's found himself up into a podium running position out here in third, directly behind Matt Semple and Cody Gibson, the race leader. But Cody Gibson may be under fire here for the first time out here tonight for the race lead.
Well, we know he was able to defend from Greg Mitchell and hold on and start to kind of pull away as that run went on. What can he do with Matt Semple on his rear bumper at this point? And to go alongside that, what can Matt Semple do that Greg Mitchell couldn't on that last go around? He does have Ed Jurgen hounding his rear bumper, so at what point does Ed decide it's not worth waiting and he's going to try and make a move on P2?
Ed Jurgen tries to work the top shelf of the Speedway, and he's going to get the left front nose on the right rear quarter panel of the 16. They're going to race side by side down the backstretch. A little bit of help from the one with the draft help, and Matt Semple's going to lose one, maybe two spots here. Second one to Greg Mitchell on the backstretch. Looks like maybe he got a little tight there, had to get out of the throttle on the inside of the 92 of Jurgen.
I tell you what, that backstretch shot is one of my favorites where you can really see the momentum differences from drivers and how they exited turn 2 right there. Ed Jurgen now into P2. Greg Mitchell tries to get back up to P3, but he's going to have to work a little harder doing it on the bottom. I think Ed Jurgen showed us how it was done, played that to perfection to get around the 16 of Semple. And oh, by the way, here comes the 46 of Andrew Caldwell, who is putting his name into the ring up into the top 5 for the first time tonight.
You got to be careful, because anytime you get down on the inside lane, that allows cars to pull up on the outside and close that gap. So now Greg Mitchell, if he's unable to make this pass on the 16 or find a slot in between the 16 and the 46, which I guess he's got a little bit of an opportunity here. Looks like he's going to drive down onto the inside of the 16. You could lose 3 or 4 spots as the line goes around, Joe.
You absolutely could, and Greg Mitchell had a great run out of turn 2 right there, but of course that high side's always going to have a little bit more momentum as you make your way towards turn 3. There's no help really from behind for Matt Semple at the moment. Caldwell's not close enough, and the next two are side by side, so Greg Mitchell's going to try and slide into line right here in front of Caldwell. Can he do so? Looks like it, as Gary Bowman looks to line up Caldwell now for a pass of his own. Gary Bowman, by the way, Tom, is up 11 positions from where he started this race.
Good opening stages to tonight's race for Gary Bowman, as, kind of not surprising. Another driver that's been moving forward is Mike Stiverson. Mike's been kind of hanging around the back half of the top 5 right now. He's on the inside of Gary. Mike's been around here forever in that Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network number 20 Toyota Tundra, and Mike is kind of the driver. Once the playoffs come around, you start to see that 20 become more relevant as the season progresses, and he's showing it right now as he's inside the top 10.
Well, I tell you what, Tom, I think Mike has maybe been the quietest out of all of the Scrambler Series drivers so far tonight, and I don't mean that in a bad way. He has been right in the middle of everything, but he's been riding his line, keeping the nose clean. He's not really in any of the drama. He's just kind of doing what he's got to do. He's in well enough position, and if he can keep doing that, he'll be just fine.
Quick little recap, Dustin Ping, the only driver 1 lap down, nobody else in danger of going a lap down before the stage, so we're going to see about 10 laps to go in the stage. Next time by, Dustin Ping would be in position to get the free pass, get back on the lead lap, and get back in contention for the championship and avoid elimination out here this evening.
All right, Matt Semple is going to make his way back around Ed Jurgen, and now he's making another charge. He's kind of got a second win on those tires at this point. Ed went up into second place. He gave it all he could. He's going to lose 1, maybe make it 2 positions, as Greg Mitchell is going to follow suit now, and now he's got a rear view mirror full of Andrew Caldwell, Gary Bowman, Mike Stiverson. All of these drivers nose to tail, not really getting away from one another, at least not if your name isn't Cody Gibson.
The first stage, we saw about 3/4 of a second, the difference between first and second place this time as they run with 10 laps to go in the stage. Just under half a second between Cody Gibson, Matt Semple, Greg Mitchell, the top 3 as they run right now. The top 5 rounded out by Ed Jurgen, Andrew Caldwell, sliding a little bit back here for the battle for about the 10th place running order. Eric Anderson, Corey Sherman, Brad Holmes.
Whole bunch of drivers in a mini Hornet's nest right here. Some playoff drivers as well. Implications to keep an eye on. Corey Sherman, a name that we haven't said much tonight, up into P11, up 2 positions from where he started this race. Word on the street is that Corey's racing on monitors, if you could believe it. I can't believe that he's running anywhere but last, all things considered.
Yeah, Corey was kind of joking around earlier. He was like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. Usually Corey runs in VR. Drivers have their preference of either VR or monitors. And Corey, one of the drivers that elects to use VR most of the time, having an issue with his gaming computer, so switched over to the old, trusty, reliable 27-inch monitors on his desk, as he's going to lose a spot here to Brad Holmes, put the 3 back into 12th.
I tell you what, I think I just about commentator cursed Corey as he got sideways out of turn 2 that last time by a couple of close calls, so maybe I will stop laying the commentator curse down out there on track and we can move our way back towards the front of the field because the battles are not over yet. We've got Greg Mitchell looking to chase down Matt Semple for P2 yet again. All the while, these two are trying everything they can to figure out what Cody Gibson knows that they don't, because that one truck has been unstoppable.
Yeah, I tell you what, past couple of laps, Greg Mitchell has been a little bit better than Matt Semple directly in front of him. Lap number 50, they were almost even. That time by Greg Mitchell, a little bit slower, but you got to start to think how much of that may be the dirty air that's affecting that number 55. But the 55 kind of fell back in the opening stages of stage number 2 and is able to climb his way back up to a potential second place finish in the stage here if he can get around the 16th.
More battles to keep an eye on as well. Teammates further back. Gary Bowman's going to make the pass on Ed Jurgen with ease. You got to think they're cutting each other a break with that one. Gary Bowman up 13 positions now as he finds himself in P4. Now that the run has made its way into the long side, these tires are starting to come into play, and as we all know, if you think tires, you think Gary Bowman. He's ripping the wall down the back straightaway, trying to chase down Greg Mitchell, maybe bring his teammate along with him.
Next time by, driver's going to see high 5 over the Speedway for stage number 2 and the second batch of stage wins. Cody Gibson has been the man out front all evening long, right now being chased by Matt Semple and Greg Mitchell as they come across the start-finish line underneath Barney the Flagman. Give us 5 laps to go in stage number 2.
5 laps to go in stage number 2, and the Hornets' nest is getting even fiercer. Led by Nathan Dufton on the outside, Brad Holmes on the inside, Jason Raymond, Corey Sherman in the picture, and catching up now, going to be Brad Collins and Tanner Marr. All of these drivers trying to figure out where they can get before the end of the stage, and it's going to be important. Track position at the end of stage 2 is very important. One of the most important times of the race, Tom, is you get ready to enter that long final stage where it could very well be green the entire rest of the length.
And stage number 3 tonight, a little bit longer than what drivers are accustomed to here in the Cyber Thunder Racing League. Going to have about 80 laps, maybe 90 laps or so of green flag of stage 3 racing before drivers see the checkered flag. So drivers going to have to adjust. Got to imagine we will see at least 1, maybe 2 stops for service under stage 3.
Could very well see as Corey Sherman makes an aggressive move to the outside of Jason Raymond on corner entry. Can he carry the momentum down the front straightaway? Those two ahead are going to be slowed down by the side draft. Where does the 3 of Corey Sherman elect to go? Does he fancy a 3-wide challenge up the middle? He can't quite get there. He's going to have to duck back in line as Brad Holmes looks to take the momentum down the back straightaway. He is not ready to give up position 10. Wants that final stage point, wants that track position more importantly.
Jason Raymond in danger of losing a couple of spots here as Corey Sherman makes his way around the outside. Tanner Marr in the wings behind the 49. Which car will the 4 of Tanner Marr decide to push down the front stretch here? He's going to stick with Corey Sherman up on the outside lane, make a switch down to the inside, and they're going to still going to race into turn 1 side by side.
The battles are not letting up anywhere you look all around the track. A little further up, Mike Stuyvesant starting to put the pressure on Ed Jurgen. This is going to be a battle for P5, and Stuyvesant's going to dive down to the inside, try and get a good run in that Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network 20. Can't quite get there across the line. He's going to have a good opportunity down into turn 1.
Gets a little sideways on the entry at turn number 1. Got Andrew Caldwell in the camera shot as well. Andrew Caldwell having a quiet night out here tonight. Started 11th, runs in the 7th place running position as they come across with 1 lap to go in the stage.
Greg Mitchell hounding the back of Matt Semple, trying to get there. before the end of the stage. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to. And one thing I do notice, Tom, is Cody Gibson didn't run away quite as far this time as he did on the last, right across the line, nose to tail for those two. A little further back, it looks like Ed Jurgen has the advantage by the time the caution comes out. Yes, indeed. And that is our stage 2 results.
Cody Gibson wins stage 1, wins stage 2 out here this evening, as we're going to see drivers come down for service the second time out here tonight. Matt Semple hangs on to second place over Greg Mitchell, Gary Bowman, Ed Jurgen, the top 5 running order as they come across. Dustin Ping is the recipient of the free pass, so Dustin Ping, one of the championship contenders, back in the race and saves himself from a possible elimination in stage 3.
That he does. There is the 81 truck currently circulating into turn 3, going to get that free pass as the one driver lap down. And I tell you what, that's got to start making a driver like Lee Campbell start to sweat a little bit, because outside of Dustin Ping's interesting situation, Lee Campbell is quite a few positions behind the next driver he would need to get around. So you'd have to imagine Dustin Ping's going to start clawing his way up through the field, and we're going to have to keep an eye on these two.
Well, you also got to wonder, I mean, what may have happened to the 81? I don't see any damage on Dustin here, so maybe something happening at home that he had to step away for just a moment. Didn't see any sort of penalties on the 81, but something to keep an eye on. Dustin Ping is going to have some work to do here in the closing laps.
Absolutely the case, and either way, he'll be glad that that happened in stage 1 and not in stage 2, so he can get back and sorted, though he will start at the tail end on this restart. Nonetheless, down on the pit road we go. Cody Gibson going to lead the field, looking from on board the one truck, who has led every single lap in this race so far. Got the pit road speed monitor up there. The speed limit for pit road is 55, I would imagine. And these drivers are going to hover just below it, try not to push it too much. And we'll see if anyone gets a penalty, but that would be a real unfortunate way to go in the Scrambler Series.
It absolutely would, and we've seen it happen throughout the course of the season so far. Cody Gibson was dominating at North Wilkesboro and had a pit road speeding penalty, and then got caught up in incidents in the back of the field. But Cody Gibson's going to win the race off of pit road. Greg Mitchell going to win second place. Matt Semple, Ed Jurgen, Gary Bowman, and then I believe Andrew Caldwell edged out the 92.
Whole lot of close battles coming off of pit road right there. It's a good thing timing and scoring is automated. I'd hate to be the one to figure all that out. All right. Drivers are going to make their way back out on track, get settled in behind the pace car, and Cody Gibson has swept the stages here. Let's see, do you fancy pulling up any driver in particular to talk to here, Tom? Pardon me on that one. I will repeat the question, as I did not realize you had stepped away. Do you fancy pulling up any particular driver to talk to at the end of this stage before we get going for stage 3?
Let's take a quick poll with where is he at? I'm trying to find Ed. Ed has been one of the faster drivers out here tonight, moving his way forward. 92's been looking good out here tonight. Ed, what do you got in stage 3?
Hey, how you doing, guys? I'm going to pace myself a little more. I was pushing pretty hard on the first two because I knew the caution was coming out, so I'm trying to save some tires here.
Yeah, well, we were talking about your ability to save tires now a little bit more this season, that you've been working with Gary as your teammate, and we'll see how it pans out in the closing stages out here this evening, but best of luck to you in that 92, Ed.
Thanks.
All right, we're going to kick Ed back down to his team room, hopefully send him into the right hauler. Yes, we did, and that was a word from Ed Jurgen, our fourth place running driver. One of the stronger drivers making his name known out here this evening, Arie. Has not got a win on the season just yet, but tonight could be the night.
Absolutely. Ed has kind of consistently put his name in that short list of drivers who aren't winning but are the best of the rest, and we wouldn't be surprised if his day does finally come. Pace car is going to dive off a pit road. Cody Gibson on the high side in control. He's going to get a great launch and bring Ed Jurgen with him. We'll see what that low line can do.
The field of 29 going to come across the start-finish line, and Cody Gibson once again takes a commanding lead over now Greg Mitchell in second place. Matt Semple, Ed Jurgen, battle for third place with Gary Bowman waiting in the wings directly in their tailgate. Andrew Caldwell comes home in 6th as they run right now.
That battle between the 92 and the 16, a battle that we've seen multiple times tonight so far, continues. We'll see what Gary Bowman can do now that he's up here towards the front at the start of the stage, though I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit of tire management. And oh, by the way, who's this bright blue truck that we see in the picture? Is that the same driver who was behind everyone else in stage 1 who we thought maybe might be struggling with elimination tonight? Say no more. Eric Anderson, 20 positions gained from the start of the race, and now knocking on the top door, on the door of the top 5.
Eric Anderson has been the biggest mover, now up 21 spots as he makes his way tentatively around the 46 as they run right now. All the Scrambler Series drivers still on the lead lap. Dustin Pink running the lowest of the 12 and currently in the elimination spot if it were to end right now. Dustin Pink back in 26, but just got back on the lead lap. Going to be interesting to keep an eye on the 81 out here tonight to see how much he is able to climb, but he doesn't have to go too far to catch up to Lee Campbell.
Certainly doesn't, and we'll keep monitoring that situation. Another thing we're monitoring are the battles up front. Greg Mitchell hounding the back of Cody Gibson, but he's not close enough for a move as of yet. In the meantime, Ed Jurgen is holding on to that podium position ahead of Matt Semple, Gary Bowman, Andrew Caldwell, and Eric Anderson. You've got to wonder at this point how much of this is tire saving with these drivers versus pushing. And not to interrupt what we're talking about, Tom, but Dustin Ping is on pit road.
Issues for the 81 under green flag conditions, and well, he's going to stop in his box here, and I'm going to monitor his pit time while he is down there. This is too early to be stopping for fuel.
It absolutely is. Potentially some issues behind the scenes out of the sim, as was alluded to a little earlier. It looks like it was a normal pit stop time, though, for Dustin.
It was. He's already moving on the track map down there, and once he illuminates that dark lacquer grading one, he is back out on an active track. So I'm very interested to find out unless there's some sort of... Does anybody think about a three-stop strategy in the closing laps here?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think there's any point in coming down that early after the end of the stage unless something happened. Maybe Dustin wasn't able to get the tires like he wanted at the stage caution, and maybe he was on some older tires and was kind of forced at that point. But we'll see. One thing is for certain, though, pitting like that and getting himself kind of off sequence does mean that Dustin's going to be running in clean air in a clean track, presumably, instead of having to go up and pass everybody and have that kind of slog fest through the field. So in the long run, assuming we go green, that could benefit Dustin, not really running in the traffic, assuming he makes the same amount of pit stops as everyone else.
Dustin Ping, the only car one lap down right now as they run, but taking a look back over here, we're going to focus our attention on the battle for the race lead. Greg Mitchell and Cody Gibson battled down here into turn number 3. It's kind of been flip-flopped as who's been running in second. Matt Semple ran the majority of stage 2 in second place. He is now back in 4th place, very similar to what we saw Greg do at the end of stage 1 to stage 2.
Absolutely the case, and man, I can't help but wonder if Greg Mitchell has got something a little more, maybe.
Casey Tomlinson. Casey Tomlinson goes around on the entrance. Chris Lutz involved. Looks like Paxton Frith involved as we have our first contact caution of the evening.
All right, well, let's take a look here and see if we can't queue up what exactly happened with driver 52. We'll get the replay going right here, and we will hit the play button. Bright blue 52, that's the one we're keeping our eye on right here. We know Paxton Frith in that green 7 was involved, the 65 of Chris Letts just behind. Entering turn 1 right here, the 52 gets into the wall, bounces down into the 7 truck. Just a little aggressive on the entry. The 65 gets involved right there. Looks like the damage shouldn't be too significant for any of these drivers, but an incident indeed. We'll maybe get another look. Let's ride on board on this look here with Chris Letts, who kind of watched this happen in front of him. Coming out of turn 4 right here on board with the 65. The 2 drivers in front are going to be the ones involved. We're watching that bright blue 52. He's going to bounce off of the wall into the 7, and those 2 are kind of out of control at this point. Gets on the brakes, can't quite slow down enough, gets a little touch. definitely slides the tires. Probably going to want to go ahead and take a new set at that one right there, and that's going to be something interesting to keep an eye on, because you would think drivers might split the strategy right here, but no, we did not run that many laps at all. 15 laps, if even that, and every single driver on pit road for 4 fresh tires. That tells you just how dire the tire situation is here tonight. Only about 13, 14. Oh no, Greg Mitchell slides the box. He still can't get it parked. Finally comes to a stop, but second place, Greg Mitchell. He is going to lose position after position on this pit sequence. Just how bad is it going to be? Gibson out, Semple out. We got Bowman, Jurgen, Caldwell, Raymond. Man, Greg Mitchell's going to come out in 11th position by the looks of it with that pit stop hiccup, and he is going to have a lot of ground to cover. The driver who looked like he might have finally had something for the one of Cody Gibson, he was trying to line up the move. A caution comes out, issues on pit road, and do I hear an engine that was cut off from Cody Gibson?
You certainly do.
That tells us a lot, Tom.
It does. I mean, we're going to have, what, about 60 laps to go? I mean, maybe some drivers thinking about one stopping it from here.
Absolutely. I'm not entirely sure what the pit window looks like to a T, but trying to save that fuel, trying to make sure that they can get to the end in the best position that they could give themselves. Looks like Cody Gibson's going to elect to take the outside line, as has been the case. Put Matt Semple down on the inside, and now up to P3, Gary Bowman in that A truck. He is not going anywhere.
Quick little restack of the championship series drivers as they run right now. All 12 of them on the lead lap. Dustin Ping caught a timely caution there, was able to get back on the lead lap, and now everybody on equal tires, with the field a whole lot closer. See if Dustin's able to take advantage of this restart. But the bottom 3 drivers, Brad Holmes, Lee Campbell, and Dustin Ping, as they run right now.
I think I dropped a water bottle in the studio here. Apologies for the loud bang. We've got Cody Gibson controlling Matt Semple in second place, that second row. Teammates, Gary Bowman, Ed Jurgen. And then we've got Jason Raymond, Andrew Caldwell on that third row as we get ready to restart right here. A little bit of cloud cover certainly is rolled in over the track, especially kind of in that turn 4 area and kind of down that front straightaway right there. We'll see if that affects the handling of these drivers as we look to restart coming to lap 73 of tonight's event.
Pace cars down and away. Cody Gibson, Matt Semple on the front row. We see the green flag once again. Out here tonight from the knockout 134. Cody Gibson gets the advantage at the start-finish line. He's going to be clear by 1, maybe 2 car lengths. Issues for Ed Jurgen. Ed Jurgen's going backwards in a hurry.
Ed Jurgen maybe missed a shift and stacks up the field. Big accordion effect. Tanner Marr slides through. Jurgen's still struggling. They're 3 wide and bunched up like nobody's business. Just behind the 92 truck. It looks like he's finally up to speed alongside Nathan Dufton in the 47. But look at the hornet's nest behind Ed Jurgen.
Great job by Jason Raymond directly behind him not to run him over. We're going to try to grab a quick replay of that incident there of the 92. And we'll go on board here and see if we can't hear the throttle inputs that Ed had here, because definitely a moment for the 92. He drops it right down into neutral there, Arie.
That will certainly do it. Not what you're looking to do, but Ed Jurgen thankful that that worked out, because a lot of times, Tom, that exact situation can cause a massive pileup.
It absolutely could, and Ed, I would say, got lucky on that one with help from a lot of his friends out here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. He's able to continue, but he falls back down to the 7th place running order.
Great heads-up driving from the drivers out here in the Cyber Thunder Racing League. Back up front, we've got Matt Semple in P2. Andrew Caldwell, new name for P3 at the moment. Both of these guys looking to do something with our race leader, Cody Gibson. Eric Anderson continuing that phenomenal run that 43 is on tonight, up 23 positions in tonight's event, if you could believe it. In the first stage, it looked dire, and in the third stage, it's fire. I'm sorry I had to take the opportunity, but Eric Anderson with a phenomenal run, and I don't know if you were able to catch it, by the way, Tom, but Greg Mitchell slid his pit box really bad on that last pit stop sequence, and he fell down to about 11th place for the restart.
Now he's in a hairy, scary situation. 3 wide at the start-finish line. Mike Stuyvesant on the inside. Brad Holmes, and I want to say that was maybe Chris Rose in the middle there, but they're all going to come out. Yeah, he did lose a bunch of spots on pit road there, trying to get those spots back, but still back in the back half of the top 10 right now. Runs 10th.
Gets his way out of that that 3 wide, situation that he had found himself in just a bit ago. He's going to work over Nathan Dufton in the 47 as these battles all over the track continue to unfold. Up front, it's more pressure from Matt Semple on the rear end of Cody Gibson, and let's not forget that this stage, this is a lot longer. Not only is it longer, but fuel may come into the picture here, so now it's a bit of a balancing act with drivers like Cody Gibson, Matt Semple. You can be on attack, you can be on defense, but you've got some other factors to manage.
Yeah, and I mean, in stage 2, I think Cody Gibson looked maybe a little bit more vulnerable than he did in stage 1, and we heard from Cody directly from himself say he didn't like the way his tires felt at the end of stage number 1, and we'll see if he manages stage number 3 any different, but it's hard to manage it when you got Matt Semple and now Andrew Caldwell directly on your tailgate.
It certainly is, and Matt Semple is putting the pressure on. I think that 16 truck knows that his best opportunity to do something with Cody Gibson is early when the tires are able, and he might be trying to take advantage. He might be sensing the drivers around him are trying to take it easier than they have all race, given the longer stage. That could be a great opportunity to catch someone sleeping.
Don't want to step away from this battle too far, but Dustin Ping again on pit road here. Not really sure what's going on with Dustin, but Dustin's going to come down for service once again.
Looks like he does have some damage on the rear end of that truck at this point in the race. He's currently 1 lap down. He will go a 2nd lap down with this pit stop right here. So Dustin Ping looks to be the driver at risk of being eliminated unless things were to go quite a ways different than how they have been so far.
Tough opening race of the playoffs for Dustin Ping, that number 81 Chevy Silverado. But the night is not over for Dustin Ping, as if we get a couple of cautions that fall exactly the right way for Dustin, could get back up into contention. But right now, dire straits for the 81 as Cody Gibson continues to lead a top 3 breakaway. Gibson, Semple, Caldwell at the line.
A little bit further back before we get to our closest battle on track as we run double Brad Holmes and the 47 of Nathan Dufton. These two are battling it out for P10. Greg Mitchell just ahead. He's moved up 1 or 2 positions from the restart, but that 55, he's still got a lot of work to do to make up for that pit stop error as he looks to the inside of Ed Jurgen.
And you got to think, Arie, Greg has been fast all night, but now he's having to use more tire. He's putting his truck in more dirty air than it's been all night. And by the time he makes his way back up into a top 5 running position, how much of his tire has he used throughout this first stage 3 run?
It's going to be interesting to follow along and keep an eye on. I've raced Greg personally enough to know that I think he'll get back up into the top 5 at the very least before it's all said and done, but he is going to have a bit of a harder time doing so than he would have hoped. Further up, we can see the battle happening. It's Gary Bowman trying to hold on to P5. Tanner Marr, a name who we haven't really talked about much tonight, is now up in the picture in what is very much alike what we've seen out of Tanner all season long. He's kind of just running his own race in the first half. You don't really talk about him, you don't really see him, and then by the time stage 3 rolls around, that Ford truck has made up position after position.
We have the track map up right now to see that Dustin Ping's still on pit road. 2 minutes and counting. So night over for Dustin Ping in terms of advancing in the playoff contention for Dustin Ping, as he is now going to be multiple laps down off of the race leaders.
Speaking of the race leaders, this battle is heating up, not only with Matt Semple, but with Andrew Caldwell, who might get close enough to give a push. These 3 nose to tail. I wonder how much of this is the pressure that those 2 are putting on Cody Gibson versus Cody Gibson running only as fast as he needs to manage the tires and keep the track position.
I think right now, if Cody's got anything left in that tank, I think he's got to push, because you can't run the risk of losing the track position. If Cody Gibson gets passed by Matt Semple, he has the possibility of losing 2 positions also to Andrew Caldwell. So I don't think that Cody Gibson is monitoring it too closely right now. At least I wouldn't be. Seeing the third car there with Caldwell, I would be going a little bit harder.
That I would, and I think if I'm Matt Semple in second place, one thing I'm going to be keeping in mind is that I don't want to use up so much of my stuff trying to get around the 1. If not, maybe just stay as close as I can, because by the time pit stops roll around, that might be a perfect opportunity for somebody to jump Cody Gibson. It's a lot easier than trying to make that pass on track, especially at a track like this, where taking the lead is so much more difficult. So keep yourself in the picture. Don't use up too much. Don't cause yourself to fall back.
Well, these drivers last pitted on lap number 71, so they're currently working about lap 17. Remember, we did hear Cody Gibson saving a little bit of fuel underneath that yellow flag. Assuming that they can run at least 30 laps, because that's what the opening stage was, that means that they can run till at least lap number 101 before fuel becomes an issue.
We'll keep our eyes glued to pit road as we approach that count. Currently watching the battle for 4th on back, Gary Bowman up here, but Eric Anderson, on the high side is going to take that run, maybe even clear. Yes, he will. Jason Raymond in the 49 continues to have a run that he wouldn't have been expecting heading into tonight's event, putting that 49 in great position to play spoiler to all of our Scrambler Series drivers. Greg Mitchell, he is making his way back up through the field, now up to P7 just behind this battle.
Greg Mitchell continues to work his way forward as Eric Anderson has closed within about 2 seconds of the leader. And I've been watching the 43's lap times. Last couple of laps has been a little bit slower than the top 2. Gotta wonder how much of that is from the pressure behind from the 49 and the 8 and the 55 and others. But at one point, Eric Anderson was about 1.4 seconds back off the race leader. Currently sits about 2 seconds back off the top 3.
Man, we can see the short track racer in Jason Raymond throwing that slide job into turn 3 and 4, but at a big cookie cutter like this, that might not work out too well for you, as he might lose 2 positions trying to make that slide job work. He's going to lose position to Greg Mitchell, who now might fancy a shot on Gary Bowman, who is currently the holder of 5th position. If Greg Mitchell can get by Gary Bowman, that gets Greg out of the Hornet's nest, and he can work a lot better with a more open track.
On board with Tanner Marr in the number 4 through turns 3 and 4 on the inside of teammate 49, Jason Raymond. They're all going to come across the start-finish line 2 by 2 by 2 by 2, and it is Greg Mitchell, Gary Bowman in the front of this pack. Tanner Marr, I thought, was possibly taking a look down onto the inside for a potential 3-wide situation with the 55 last time by, but he held in line behind the 55, trying to see if he can slot back up into the outside running lane right now, but not able to do so just yet as he's got Brad Holmes fighting.
Seems to be the case as these drivers are trying to kind of settle in at this point, everyone finding where they're going to run. A little bit of an update on the race leaders. They have spread out just a little bit. Cody Gibson has about 0.3 of a second over Matt Semple, equal gap back to 3rd place in Andrew Caldwell. Eric Anderson kind of on an island further back. He's kind of a second and a half back, but got a second of his own on 5th place. I'm really impressed, Tom, with how Eric's race has turned around.
It really has, and I mean, he was one of the 3 drivers that didn't take a qualifying time out here tonight, and ran a very Eric Anderson-ish race. And started back in the pack, made his way through stage 1 without issue, got his name up there in stage 2, and now he is a real contender for the race win out here this evening.
That he is, as Gary Bowman and Greg Mitchell battle for position. This is a battle of the heavyweights, and I tell you what, another driver having a great race is that 8 truck of Gary Bowman, a driver who we all know is talented enough, but he has been on a bit of a struggle bus lately. He's been trying to relocate his rhythm and find the speed that we all know he's capable of. I think tonight's race is a great example of what Gary can do, and it's just in time.
It absolutely is, and we're going to begin the Scrambler Series next week at, I believe we're going out to Kentucky Speedway next week for race number 2 of the Scrambler Series, and Gary Bowman, one of the strongest drivers in the opening races out here this evening as he runs inside the top 5 as they come along right now. Greg Mitchell's able to slide up in front of the 49 at Jason Raymond.
You can get a great view of the differing lines that you can run this racetrack. We just saw it in turns 1 and 2, just how much higher Gary Bowman was running all the way up on the wall. It allowed Greg Mitchell to pull alongside him through the middle of the corner, but Gary just clears him down the back straightaway. And just seeing where these drivers are preferring to put their race cars at this point in the run, where they feel comfortable, where they can make speed, seeing it all come together and seeing how it works. Greg Mitchell seems to be faster, but as long as Gary Bowman's on the outside, I just don't know. I think it's going to take a long time.
It's going to take a long time, or it's going to take help from the 49 of pushing him past the 8, both of which are very possible here, because I don't think Gary Bowman is the driver that you want to wait to have come back to you. You're going to have to play offense to go get him.
Absolutely the case. In my experience, I've raced Gary Bowman quite a bit, and if you want to get that position, you got to do it as soon as you see the opportunity, because it is not going to come back around to you. As Jason Raymond looks to the inside of Greg Mitchell, we're riding on board at the moment with double-double. That's Brad Holmes, following in the tire tracks of Ed Jurgen. These two are also Scrambler Series drivers, running 8th and 9th.
See a lot of drivers starting to migrate up to the outside lane of the Speedway, and Brad Holmes loses a little bit of time on the 92. On the exit of turn number 4. Got battles happening all over the track, but up front it is all Cody Gibson, Matt Semple, Andrew Caldwell, still unchanged for the top 3.
Battles all over the track. Mike Stiverson to the inside of Brad Holmes at this point. Looking to take away 8th position is Mr. Stiverson, who's had himself a quiet and pretty good race, doing all he needs to do at this point in the running. Up front, the leaders are keeping themselves a pretty good distance apart. Andrew Caldwell has fallen off of the back of Matt Semple, so it's just Cody Gibson, Matt Semple up front. You got to go back a little bit. You get to Andrew Caldwell, Eric Anderson, and now Greg Mitchell, who does look to have gotten around Gary Bowman finally, so now he can set his sights on those race leaders and try and go back up there to fight for the win before it's over.
And this will kind of be the tell of two tales here, Arie. How much does the 55 drive away from Gary Bowman there? We saw him having to work multiple lap over lap over lap and not be able to make the pass. And he's got about a 5, maybe a 6 truck length advantage over Gary Bowman here in the last lap or so. But does Gary stay with them and continue to put the pressure on? Last time by, about a 10th better for Greg Mitchell over Gary Bowman.
Yeah, I think now that he's in clean air, another thing that's going to happen is Greg's going to be able to just be better on his tires. And that's not going to be something that we see manifest over 1 lap, 2 lap, 3 laps. That's going to be something that'll make its difference in 10 laps time and 15 laps time. Being in that clean air, not battling wheel to wheel in that traffic. Every lap that we go by, he's going to be feeling a little bit better than those who aren't in the same boat, and that'll pay off in the long run. As Mike Stiverson clips the grass a little bit, he's going to lose a position to Corey Sherman, who's one of the drivers looking to play spoiler.
Corey Sherman takes the top 10 running position away from the 20 of Mike Stiverson. Going to carry the momentum on the exit of turn number 2. And I tell you what, Arie, I've been keeping an eye on the timing tower here. Mike Stiverson's pitting this time. So the first of the lead lap cars to come down onto pit road, Mike Stiverson.
Right on lap 101, just as you were predicting. Called it to a T. Mike Stiverson, the first driver to elect to come down pit road, and as the first driver, it's a risk. It's a high risk, high reward, because you are going to undercut everybody around you, having made your pit stop first. And it looks like actually Lee Campbell had come down a lap before, so driver 60 will be the first one of our playoff contenders. But back to my point, you'll undercut everybody, Tom. But if a caution comes out at just the wrong time, and you're one of the only drivers who came down, that's a race ender.
It absolutely could be, and within 30 laps to go out here tonight, that is not something that you want to see happen. But on the flip side of that, as Andrew Caldwell comes down onto pit road, it could also gain you multiple spots. Andrew Caldwell, the first of the real race leaders to come down onto pit road.
Absolutely the case. That's going to have Cody Gibson and Matt Semple thinking twice about if they want to come in, if they want to continue to stay out. We'll see this time by Cody Gibson into turn 3. Matt Semple with a much lower line, I would venture to say. Looks like both of them are going to come down. Matt Semple stays out on track. And Cody Gibson, wow, quite a few drivers still staying out.
Wow, that's... We'll see how it works out for Matt Semple. I mean, I think he did something similar at Rockingham a couple of weeks ago, and it wound up working in his favor. But we saw the flip side of that with Andrew Caldwell a couple of weeks ago, and he just didn't have the time at the end of the run to make up the time needed, even on the fresh tires.
That's right. So here's how it's going to play off for those of you out at home. Being that Cody Gibson pit before, let's use Matt Semple, for example, who's been running in second place. Cody Gibson, at the end of the pit sequence, is going to have a larger advantage over Matt Semple. But from that point until the rest of the race, Matt Semple is going to be on better tires, running faster laps. In that difference, is it enough of a difference, I guess, is the question, to catch up to Cody Gibson and make the pass before the race is over? Matt Semple, he is banking on the fact that on the fact that it will be, on the potential that it will be enough. These 2 additional laps that he's going to have on the tires. He'll give it up on the early half, and we'll see how it swings back around him as everyone rounds out their pit stops. Corey Sherman's going to stay out. He's going to get a lap lead, and he's going to bring Tanner Marr and Brad Holmes with him. A couple of playoff drivers, Tom, who are really stretching it out here.
Yeah, they certainly are, and well, we already know that Dustin Ping is going to be the driver that's eliminated from tonight's race. Dustin Ping retired and put that 81 on the hauler, so it's kind of a free game for the rest of these playoff drivers. There's no more stress out here tonight. Just go out there and try to win the overall race and maybe do something a little bit more aggressive than what you normally would do.
Absolutely, and if a caution came out, like any point now, that would put these guys in great position to control this race as a couple more drivers dive down on pit road. Corey Sherman, Chris Letts, Brad Collins are all on pit road at the moment, leaving Tanner Marr and Brad Holmes out in front. The 2 drivers who are yet to pit. Another interesting thing to note here, Tom, is a little further back, Andrew Caldwell ahead of Cody Gibson.
With 28 laps to go, Cody Gibson's going to have 1 lap better tires. Obviously, give me the best tires you can possibly give me, but I would rather have a lap disadvantage with about a half-second lead over Cody Gibson than have it the other way around.
Oh, certainly the case. I think Andrew Caldwell is in a fantastic position right here with only a single lap difference on the tires. He's got to make Cody Gibson work hard for that. Now, the thing is, Andrew Caldwell, that's a monumental task because Cody Gibson, he is good around this track.
He certainly is. Got his first career win at the Cyber Thunder Racing League. We've alluded to it a couple of times in tonight's broadcast, looking to get his second win at the track that started all. Brad Holmes on pit road. He's going to send that 0-0 into pit road, get it down to 55 miles an hour at the line.
And with that,
and
that will...
Here,
here,
Arie, would you take a look at this? If this doesn't tickle the fancy, the top 11 drivers out on track right now, all playoff drivers.
That does actually strike the fancy quite a bit, as it were. And now, of course, not the case as Tanner Marr has fallen out of that. But good catch right there. Good catch. Sorry to cut you off on that. Andrew Caldwell is leading. He's got about half a second over Cody Gibson. And Cody Gibson, he's closing that gap for sure. I'm just wondering, in how much of a rush will Cody Gibson be, or does he fancy maybe waiting Andrew Caldwell out? Here's something to consider, Tom. On that first stretch here in Stage 3, Andrew Caldwell stuck with the leaders for a while, and then he started to fall off pretty significantly. Did Cody Gibson take note of that? Is he maybe not in as much of a rush, banking on it happening again?
I mean, that's a possibility, but the flip side of this coin here, Arie, is that Cody Gibson, when he does get there, if he does get there, I would imagine that he will. It's just a matter of when. He doesn't have a third car in this picture. The closest car back in third place, Eric Anderson, 4.7 seconds back. So if he's going to do it, it's going to be on speed alone and no drafting help.
Certainly can be the case. And another thing to consider here that we were kind of alluding to with the pit stop sequence is Matt Semple being on some of the freshest tires out of our contenders. Now, here's the deal. Matt Semple is currently 6 seconds behind the race leaders. He has to make up 6 seconds and pass 2 other drivers to get back up into this hunt for the race win. He does have the tire advantage. Will it be enough? I think we're going to start to see it pay off more and more as the run gets further. But for right now, Matt Semple is going to have to be doing everything he can to close that gap, because right now it seems like it's hovering pretty static.
I'm taking a look at the lap times here, Arie, and something that I want to bring the attention to. Last lap time for the race leaders was a 31.7 and a 31.6 for Andrew Caldwell, Cody Gibson. Eric Anderson, a 31.4. So these 7s and 6s up front make me wonder, if these drivers are saving a little bit, but Cody Gibson puts the heat on Andrew Caldwell for the race lead with 22 laps to go.
Andrew Caldwell is going to try and hold on the high side right here. He's got to keep that 46 to the outside of Cody Gibson. Do not let him make the pass on the inside. You have got to use that outside line for all it is worth. Defend for your life. Maybe even pinch that one car down just a little bit. Into turn 3 we go. Cody Gibson now looking for the advantage once more. He's going to pull ahead as we approach the exit. Does he clear? He does.
Cody Gibson to the race lead with 21 laps to go. Andrew Caldwell still within striking distance on a one-lap tire disadvantage. Now Cody Gibson moves up to the top shelf of the Speedway, takes the air away from the 46. Does the 46 of Caldwell drop down onto the inside line? How does he answer that call in turn 3?
He is going to tuck back in line and follow the one car. Cody Gibson makes it look easy as he works around Andrew Caldwell just as he catches him, put the one car back in control of this race. And that's certainly not what you wanted to see if you're a driver like Matt Semple, who's going to be on the charge late. You were kind of hoping that that battle would last a little bit longer. Matt Semple, of course, now under 5 seconds to the race leader, so he is closing that gap, and I think those two battling certainly slowed them down for just a lap.
It did a little bit. Matt Semple last time by was about 4/10 faster than the race leaders, actually one of the fastest cars on track. Greg Mitchell actually ran a time pretty comparable, as did Mike Stuyvesant back in the pack. But Cody Gibson opening up about a half-second gap now to Andrew Caldwell. Cody Gibson's got to be careful here because it's difficult to manage tire strategies when it's only you and one other car, because you don't really see who's coming until they're already there. So he's got to keep an eye on the 16 and the 43 here, because Eric Anderson has closed about a second on the leaders.
It seems like everybody behind the leaders are slowly closing in, and one thing that might hinder Matt Semple's chances is the 55 of Greg Mitchell. That's not a driver that you can just go and make a pass on, Tom.
It's not, but it's something that if these two drivers work together over the next handful of laps, maybe next 10 laps or so, that's going to put them in a position to maybe catch the 43, and the 43s has been catching the race leaders. So where did these drivers come together? Last time by, Eric Anderson 0.3 better than the two in front of him.
Well, I tell you what, all of these three in the top 5 that we're watching chase down the race leaders, they're all on fresh tires, because Cody Gibson pit on lap 103. Andrew Caldwell, he's on older tires. Eric Anderson, Greg Mitchell, both 104. They've got 1 lap newer than our race leader, and Matt Semple, he's got 2 laps newer than our race leader. So it's no wonder that these guys are catching up to them. It's just a question of if they can continue to do so as the tires wear out more and more, and as we approach the finish, they've got to try and balance, managing those tires and also running with enough pace to catch up.
You can see the laps that they pitted right next to their name, Andrew Caldwell, with the oldest tires in the top 5 as they run right now, 0.7 off of the race leader as we look at the battle for the race lead. But Matt Semple 3.9 seconds back, and oh yeah, that 43 now within 3 seconds.
That he is, and we can ride on board right now with Eric Anderson, and we can just see ahead on track the 2 race leaders, Andrew Caldwell, and then further out, Cody Gibson. Eric Anderson looking for a real strong podium run in tonight's event, and I tell you what, Tom, the way this 43 is running, I think he can get to Caldwell.
I think he definitely can. What he does when he gets to Andrew Caldwell, he's not going to have multiple laps of leniency to try to get around the 46. If he gets there, he's going to have to get around him that very lap that he gets there. And oh yeah, he's also going to have to do it before the 55 and the 16 get to the back of the 43 as well. So playing defense and offense at the same time for Anderson.
Absolutely. And he does have his hands full, but fantastic race up to this point nonetheless. Matt Semple still unable to get around Greg Mitchell. That is certainly hindering his progress towards the race leaders, though they are still closing the gap. The race leader is now 3.5 seconds ahead of Matt Semple, whereas at the start of this run, it was just over 6. So close that gap down quite a bit, but, I mean, they can get close to the race leader. He's still got a number of cars to pass.
And let's not throw out the option, Arie. These drivers do have 3 attempts at an overtime finish out here tonight. Only 2 contact cautions out here this evening. 1 contact caution out here tonight for Casey Tomlinson. So a lot of these drivers have to start thinking about the possibility of a late race restart.
and that would certainly change everything about how this race is shaking out at the moment. I tell you what, Greg Mitchell and Matt Semple have caught the rear bumper of Eric Anderson, all three closing in on Andrew Caldwell, but this accordion effect is playing out right before our eyes, just behind Matt Semple. Not really just behind Matt Semple. It's quite a gap before you get to 6th place on back. That's currently held by Mike Stiverson to give you an update there, but this is going to be, for all intents and purposes, a 5-way battle for the race win.
Eric Anderson lost a couple of tenths to the race leader last time by, now back down to 3.1. At one point was down to about 2.4, 2.5 seconds off of the race leader. Now sits at about 3.1 seconds behind Cody Gibson, but he is still catching the 46 of Andrew Caldwell.
These three have gotten themselves effectively nose to tail. What can Greg Mitchell do with Eric Anderson? That is going to be the first question that we have to answer, as it seems like Matt Semple has decided to maybe not decided to willingly, but content to ride behind Greg Mitchell as he can't quite get close enough to make the move happen. All the while, Andrew Caldwell slowly being reeled in by these three. Cody Gibson is starting to level out with these drivers, Tom. That gap from Matt Semple to Cody Gibson, it's now 3.8 seconds, so it's starting to increase, and they're no longer reeling in the race leader.
Yeah, and you got to wonder how much of this is dirty air on the front end of the 16 truck, and I got to imagine it's a pretty good bit of it, as Eric Anderson's now under fire from Greg Mitchell for a position number 3 change here, possibly in a moment. Again, Greg Mitchell and Eric Anderson on the same lap tires, but Matt Semple directly behind them, 1 lap better tires.
Eric Anderson, all he's got to do is run the line that he's been running. I don't think it's going to be an easy task to get to the outside of that 43, given how good he's run on the outer lanes of this racetrack, and we might be too far along in the run for a move to the inside to be ideal. We'll see if Semple fancies it on Mitchell this time. He is going to give it a look. Through turns 1 and 2 right here is the 16. I just don't see how he can make it stick well enough down the back straightaway.
Inside 10 laps to go. Drivers see 9 laps to go this time by. Cody Gibson's going to give us 8 laps to go here in the Knock 'em Out 134 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. 2 stage cautions, 1 contact caution throughout the course of tonight's event here on the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network. Drivers have been doing a great job out here at a very difficult track to begin a high-stakes playoff scenario, but Matt Semple on the inside of Greg Mitchell. He's going to send it down one more time, make another attempt at it. Didn't get it done in 3 and 4. He's going to try again in 1 and 2.
Couldn't quite complete the slide job right there, and look at the momentum difference. That's why the outside is such a preferred lane, the one that Greg Mitchell was in right there. You just carry so much more speed down the straightaway with how quickly you can get on the throttle on the outside line, how much momentum you can carry. And these trucks, more than any of the other top 3 series, are all about momentum.
They certainly are, and that outside lane carries so much momentum, and that's why we've seen the top side be dominant in the longer runs of the stages out here this evening. Matt Semple still trying to do something with the impossible and make a pass down on the inside lane. I think if he can pull the draft of the 43, or if Eric wants to pull the 16 around, he may have a shot, but I think he's going to need some help here.
Oh, Greg Mitchell gets sideways. The 55 gets sideways. Semple tried to look to the outside, but he might have had to check up just a little bit. Could not capitalize on that. But Greg Mitchell with a white-knuckle moment right there as Semple continues to follow right in his wheel tracks. That's going to get the 16 extremely tight on entry, and he is going to lose a little bit of ground right there, try to close back in. All the while, Caldwell is still being reeled in by these drivers as the laps tick down. It's going to be 5 to go at the line, watching from on board the 46.
He certainly is being caught by the 43, the 55, and the 16. And I tell you what, if I'm Andrew Caldwell, I'm real nervous, because if one of them gets to my outside when they get here with 5 laps to go, that is going to spell trouble for multiple positions for Andrew Caldwell.
I think it will as well. We'll see if he can hold on for long enough for it to not be an issue. At that, I tell you what, Eric Anderson, he's doing everything he needs to do, running his line under a lot of pressure right now, and doing he's running a perfect race. He's hitting his marks every single lap. He's not giving Greg Mitchell even a sniff of a chance to try and make a pass.
While all this is happening, Cody Gibson has opened up to over a 3-second lead over second place Andrew Caldwell and almost a 4-second lead to Eric Anderson and company on the backstretch here. Matt Semple's going to get sideways on the exit of turn number 2.
Just pushing for all he's worth, trying to get around the 55. Desperation time has kicked in with under 5 laps to go, and that is going to drop to 16 quite a bit further back. He is still going to hold on to P5. We got battles all over the racetrack. Gary Bowman, Corey Sherman back here for P7.
Corey Sherman and Gary Bowman, they're going to come across the start-finish line with 3 laps to go side by side. Advantage to the 3 in that Toyota Tundra. See what Corey is able to do now down here into turn number 1. Gary Bowman going to slide up a little bit higher, try to carry that momentum and try to take a Gary Bowman going to try to take a top 7 running position away.
That he is, and the battle is on. Greg Mitchell to the inside of Eric Anderson. This is for P3, trying to make a move on the inside. Cannot do it. 2 laps to go. Popsicle sticks in the air as Andrew Caldwell continues to try and run away from these two. Eric Anderson trying to hold on to a podium.
2 laps to go in tonight's race here at Atlanta Motor Speedway in the Cyber Thunder Racing League Tuesday Night Thunder Championship Truck Series. It is Cody Gibson, Andrew Caldwell, Eric Anderson under fire from Greg Mitchell. But up front, it has been the Cody Gibson show out here tonight in this very difficult 1.5-mile track in the old Atlanta Super Speedway. And Cody Gibson's going to see the white flag.
White flag out in the air for our race leader. He is gone. He is on an island. The battle for P3 continues. It looks like Andrew Caldwell is done just enough to hold on by the end of this lap, but boy, if these two didn't get close. Eric Anderson into the wall, out of turn 2. That's going to open the door for Greg Mitchell down into turn 3. All the momentum in the world. The 43 tries to drive it in as deep as he can. All the while, Cody Gibson is going to win in Atlanta. Greg Mitchell off of 4 gets the spot and finishes ahead of Eric Anderson for P3. What an intense battle to the line. All the while, Cody Gibson had no idea, because the man who won the pole, who swept the stages, who led the most laps, gets it done and brings it home for 2 in a row in Atlanta.
125 laps led out of 134 out here tonight. Dominating performance for Cody Gibson as he sets himself up for the Scrambler Series.
Setting himself up wonderfully, comes out to the first event, all the pressure on the line, gets the job done, and makes a statement here as he wants to be the driver with the championship at the end of the season. He's got to go through a couple other drivers, namely Greg Mitchell, Matt Semple, and he did so today. He showed everyone what he's made of.
He certainly did, and put the field on notice out here. The last 2 races at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Cody Gibson takes home the checkered flag as we try to gather up your top 3 finishers out here this evening. Looking for, where is Cody? There is Cody. Cool. We got your top 3 finishers out here. Why don't we grab a word with Greg Mitchell? Arie, I think you're down in the 55 box.
That I am. It was an incredible call to the line, the battle between you and Eric for that 3rd and final podium position, Greg. But I tell you what could have been if not for that slide through your pit box?
Yeah, definitely cost me on that. I had my brake bias turned all the way down and forgot to turn it up. I slid right through my stall, so I deserve that. I was trying to get a jump on Cody and blew it.
Well, it happens to the best of them for sure. Of course, you had to make your way back up kind of through the field at that point and had that incredible battle towards the end right there. Did you think at any point kind of in that 3rd stage you were going to have a chance to kind of get up there and compete with these guys for the race win, or were you just kind of going for everything that you could?
No, I didn't think I could get there. I was just too far back. I think they had 3 or 4 seconds on me when pit stop started, so I was just trying to get every position I could. Always trying for a top 5 first and then a podium. So once I got to 4th, I was trying to catch Eric real good, and then I don't think I would have caught him if he didn't mess up. He was fast tonight. He was running real smooth and consistent laps. So yeah, just trying to get up as high as I could.
Absolutely. Well, I tell you what, first week down, and you've survived, of course, being the regular season champion. That was going to be a given, but now we head to Kentucky in 1 week's time, and we are not eliminating one, but two drivers in next week's event. So how do you feel about Kentucky, and how are you feeling moving forward to the next round?
I feel fine about Kentucky. I feel like Cody's been really fast on like mile-and-a-half size style track, so he's gonna be tough like usual. But yeah, I feel good. I just hope to not run into any problems and hopefully compete for the win. That's what it's all about.
That it is. Well, I tell you what, congratulations on a top 3 run tonight regardless, Greg. We'll open up the floor to you to give any shout-outs, hays, highs, and thank yous that you might have.
Well, thank you guys as always for running the show for us, and thanks for Mike for sponsoring tonight.
All right, there we have it. Our third place finisher, Greg Mitchell in the 55, regular season champion at that, and I do believe Tom is caught up with our second place finisher.
I've got Andrew Caldwell in the 46. Second place out here tonight, Andrew. Quiet night out here tonight. Winless streak in the trucks is going to have to wait 1 more week. Andrew, how was your night?
It was okay actually. It wasn't too chaotic. Just minding my business and just dodged a few wrecks, or not wrecks, but stuff on the restart. Survived the restart. You know, something happened with Ed there on the one, and was able to capitalize a lot of track position there. And once I saw Dustin was kind of out of contention, I had nothing to lose there, so made a play to try and get out early on tires, and just it worked, and then ran a little too hard, missed my line, and just let him really catch up, and it was kind of over from there.
Yeah, we saw Ed miss a gear on the restart there. You were able to get through that. It's interesting that you decided to come down. So you decided to come down the earliest of any of the leaders. And I say it's interesting because in stage number 2, you were actually able to keep up with Cody for the majority of stage number 2 before losing a little bit of time in the closing laps of stage 2. How much did you use there to determine when you were going to come down on pit road for stage 3?
Well, to be honest, I was just kind of riding behind everyone else, kind of tagging on along with some drafts, and I was kind of riding, and I don't know, I still felt pretty good, but towards the end of the run, I still had some tire left, and I felt it was kind of starting to die off there, so I said, why not pit now?
That is the most Andrew Caldwell answer I've ever heard. He's like, I don't know, I'm just riding, I'm just vibing here at Atlanta, running third, but you come home second. So now we look forward to the upcoming races in the Scrambler Series. We've got Kentucky Speedway next week, and then we're going to see our first and only short track of the Scrambler Series at Richmond. Any of these tracks in front of you here that you're maybe a little bit more concerned about?
Next week at Kentucky, I'm concerned, actually. I haven't really run well there at all on high racing. Just something about it I can't figure out, so probably have to put some work in and try and get through.
Well, we'll see if you're able to break the winless streak in the trucks next week at Kentucky in the Scrambler Series and advance to the round of 10 before we go into Richmond Raceway in a couple of weeks' time. But Andrew, as always, we're going to open up the floor for you. Anyone to say hello to back home watching you finish second?
I want to thank Mike tonight for sponsoring us. I want to thank you guys up in the booth for broadcasting for us. And as always, want to thank Mom and Dad.
All right, Andrew Caldwell, congratulations on a podium finish. Good run out here tonight in the first race of the Scrambler Series. And, well, Arie, driver who's made his name known in a big way out here tonight, is the race winner, Cody Gibson.
That's right. I've got the big race winner on the night. Driver of the one truck, Cody Gibson. You went out there. You won just about everything that you could win tonight. You make it 2 in a row here at the Old Atlanta configuration. And more importantly, you come out to the first week of the Scrambler Series and you make a statement.
Yeah, I mean, that was a tough one. I will say that. I mean, driving it was a handful, trying to keep the people behind you, hoping they wouldn't get to your outside, and I don't know, a lot of rear view mirror driving tonight.
It looked like that was the case. That was going to be my next question, so it's funny you say that. It looked like there was a lot of kind of aero battling out there, right? Whether you were kind of attacking, defending, it was all about the aero. It was all about trying to get to that outside line, preferably for a lot of these drivers. And just kind of walk me through that here at Old Atlanta with how bad the tires are and trying to manage the air.
Well, me and Greg was just talking about that. That time I came down in front of him, and I think coming off the 2, and he pushed up, got into the wall, and I was like, maybe there's something to this air for the car behind you. And then I think Matthew got behind me, and I was kind of running the middle line in 1 and 2, and he was running the bottom. I'd see he'd gained some ground, so I kind of shifted down to the bottom, hopefully to help wear his tires out, and it seemed like it kind of worked because he started fading. But yeah, I mean, I like this track. It wasn't quite as slick as last year, which I don't like slick tracks, but for some reason I drive good here. And because I mean, tell you the truth, it was starting to get loose later in the run, depending on how you was coming off the corner and how you was driving it. But I like that high line in 1 and 2. It's pretty dominant late in the run.
It seems to be the case, and I tell you what, it was a great run tonight. You got the job done, got another win on the season, and next week we head into Kentucky for a track that we don't go to all that often, and we're also going to be dropping the bottom 2 next week. So let us know right here and now, Cody, is Kentucky a track you're feeling good about, or are you a little worried?
I usually run pretty decent there. I mean, just like every week, come in here hour and a half when the server opens and do as much practice as you can, do long runs, short runs, Q runs, just see where the tires at, see where the lanes are, in the short run, long run, and be patient. Just don't be the last 2 on the, just don't be the last 2 people.
Hey, it's as simple as that. It really is. Well, I'll tell you what, congratulations on the win tonight. We'll open up the floor to you to say any hays and highs and give any shout outs to anyone you'd like.
Shout out to all my teammates here at Five Kings. I mean, we all chip in, help each other out. Seems like we make each other better. Casey, of course, you've seen we adopted Casey in there. He's been a character. I think we kind of opened him up, but of course, you guys up there in the booth, U.S. Firearms, and everything that y'all put this show together, and I know y'all would much rather be out here racing than up there in the booth calling it. But thank y'all, and thank you, Tom, for the league. Let me in here. You're not going to take my number 1, though.
All right, well, there we have it. The big race winner on the evening, Cody Gibson, in the 1 truck, gets the job done, makes the statement, throws the first punch, if you will, here in the Scrambler Series. And I tell you what, Tom, the other story to take out of tonight's race is, of course, the elimination of Dustin Ping, driver of the 81, the first one to go out of the Scrambler Series. And while he was a wild card to get into the series in the first place, based on speed, you can't help but feel like that might be a slight upset.
It absolutely is, and Dustin Ping, not one of the drivers that I expected to get eliminated early in the Scrambler Series, but that is how it goes in the Scrambler Series. But, it is not done yet for the 81. Dustin Ping going to be eligible for the redemption round at Michigan in a couple of weeks, assuming that he is here for the next, throughout the remainder of the playoffs, and the redemption round could change the entire picture of the Scrambler Series.
It absolutely could for any of these drivers who are eliminated throughout the Scrambler Series. In the penultimate event of the year, they have one final opportunity to win their way into the championship race. We'll keep tabs on it as we go. But in the meantime, let's take a look at our final results for tonight's event. Race 17 here in Atlanta. The big winner is, of course, Cody Gibson, followed by Andrew Caldwell in the 46. P3 is going to be Greg Mitchell. Eric Anderson comes home with a strong 4th place finish. Matt Semple will round out the top 5. In 6th place, it's Mike Stiverson in the 20, followed by Corey Sherman in the 3, highest finishing non-Scrambler Series driver, beating out Gary Bowman in 8th, Tanner Marr in 9th, and rounding out the top 10, it's Jason Raymond.
In 11th, we got Brad Holmes leads Nathan Dufton in the top 12 out here tonight. Jarrett Keemley in the number 33 is going to come home 13th out here in tonight's event. Larry Bell and Lee Campbell round out the top 15. Brad Collins and Ed Jurgens 16th and 17th across the stripe at Atlanta Motor Speedway, followed by Chris Letts and Paxton Frith and Andy Cork, the top 20.
In 21st, it's Chris Rose in the 07. Dave Gainforth comes home in 22nd ahead of Casey Tomlinson in 23rd. Amanda Sherman in 24th. Dustin Ping, the first Scrambler Series driver to be eliminated, in 25th. Stephen Music in 26th. Tito Todorov comes home 27th. And the last two on the field, Logan Spencer in 28th and James Kinder, shotgun, in 29th.
Field of 29 going to make their way out of Atlanta Motor Speedway. And, well, next week, Arie, we're going to be down in the Colonel's house. We're going to be down for a finger-licking good race at Kentucky Speedway for 150 laps of action down there. What do you say we make our way same time, same place next week, Arie?
I'd say we do it, but I don't know how a race is finger-licking good. I'll have to figure that one out.
It's a Kentucky Speedway. I'll tell you off air. Thanks for checking into the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network. If you enjoyed tonight's race, click that like button, hit the subscribe, get notified every single time we go live here on the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network. We're going to be bringing you the championship series all the way through the championship event in the middle of February at Charlotte Motor Speedway. But for Arie and myself here from Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network, have a good night, and we will see you next week.